Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Overwatch Coach. And today we are VOD reviewing a Baptiste who is Plat 4, peaked at Diamond 2 last season. So before we get into anything, as you can see, this is going to be a long game. It's 26 minutes. So we may fast forward through certain parts of it just to kind of get through everything. I'm just going to forewarn that now. In the intro, he leaves a PS mentioning that you can just review the first attack and defense. We'll go through the whole game, but we might kind of skim over certain parts just to keep things moving a bit, which is a little unusual for how I usually do things, but I usually don't VOD review a half-hour game. That's a lot. So, let's get into the introduction because we've got a long one today. This is an above average game for me. I wanted to send in one of my better games so that I learn what I'm doing wrong even when I feel like I'm doing well. Over the past few days, I've been on such a bad losing streak that I ended up getting 20 losses before 7 wins, which demoted me from Plat 1 to Plat 4. Yikes. That can just be so, okay, let's get into that comment a little bit here, and I wanted to bring up too, would you guys enjoy me talking about basically how matchmaking is currently working right now? It's an idea that I was kicking around in the back of my head on why matchmaking is kind of lopsided right now. And I could probably make like a 5 to 10 minute video on it. It would be different content from what I'm normally doing, but let me know if that's something you guys would like to see or not. But yeah, for my New Year's games, I solo queuing as support has never been more difficult than it is right now, in my opinion. The amount of DPS diffs that I've seen in my games are mind-blowingly staggering. I actually have had games where my team started on attack first, and they didn't get a single elim the whole attack. Not a single one. And I've seen people on Reddit say similar things, and it's like, as a support player, what can you do with that? There's not much you can do. I suppose you could go on to a DPS stint as a support player and see if you can make a play that way, but let's be real, like, is that really going to work or not? I mean, maybe not, I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is solo queuing as support right now is difficult. So without further ado, let's get into this game. Let's get into the team comp. So this is our Baptiste. And let's see. So you got double hit scan with the Mercy. So these three are covered. And then you've got a self-healing tank that won't require a ton of healing. Wow, this is really bad for this Pharah. That Pharah should get deleted a lot. I don't think Baptiste is a bad pick here. It's kind of overhealing in my opinion, though, just because you've got the Roadhog. There's no Ana on the enemy team, not that you know that yet, but there, so it doesn't require Kiriko at the moment. The enemy team, I don't think, would be very easily anti, because they have Kiriko. They don't have a tank that you can anti as easily as some of the other tanks floating around. So I would kind of say Ana's not the greatest pick. Ana could work, but Ana's not the greatest pick. I don't know. I guess Baptiste is all right here. I don't really have any suggestions at the moment until we kind of see this play out. It's a little over the top on the hit scan, and it feels like it might be a little over the top on the healing, but that might not necessarily be a bad thing. You definitely have a lot of heroes on your team that can utilize your window. So yeah, I mean, it can definitely work. So I'm not really going to give any counter suggestions to other supports to play, because This is a team comp where I think a lot of different supports could theoretically work here. The only two I would probably throw out that I would not be playing in here would be Zenyatta and Brigitte. I don't think either of those two could really work well unless there's just not much damage coming into the team and the Mercy's able to soak most of it up. But anything other than those two I think could theoretically work. So let's dig into this game. We got a long one. Let's go. So you're over healing at the moment, like nobody's even taking damage. This is a good opportunity to just be trying to get some DPS shots in until your team starts taking damage. Aim a little higher, try to get headshots. So that lamp wouldn't save Cassidy there. It has to have line of sight. Let me get into a view here. So he's in the room, and the lamp's out of, it would have had to have been here if you were trying to save the Cassidy, which I would assume is what you were trying to do. The Cassidy's overextending, so this is what I'm talking about when I talk about DPS stiffs. Like, I don't know what that Cassidy thought he was going to do there. I mean, he's frontlining a tank. Tanks don't die until the rest of the team does. Don't get in the habit of overshooting at tanks. And this is just for everybody. If you play DPS, if you play support, if you play tank, tanks don't die until the rest of the team dies. The heal, or at least the supports anyway. But when there's supports backing up a tank, they're not dying very easily. I would have saved your... Oh, okay. Actually, I didn't realize your Mercy was as low as they were. Okay, so you got a good pocket on the Mercy while she's rezzing. That's a good thing. It'd be nice if that Cassidy got out of the overextending spot. Maybe the Zenyatta or Ramacho wasn't paying attention to that. Try to aim for more headshots. Get more on a headshot level. That's where you're really going to do your real damage, especially against the tank. Another thing that I want to point out is your tanks at basically full health, they don't have to be at 100% health to be effective, especially if it's a non-anti Roadhog. It's a little overboard on the healing on the Roadhog, like on the focus. Like there's been a lot of opportunities that we've already seen where you could be kind of poking, doing damage instead. Kind of like what you're doing here. And then now that he's kind of around half, he can self-heal himself to get to about roughly like, what, 85%, give or take. And then you can just top him off from there. Assuming the Mercy doesn't beat you to it. But yeah, like basically how that works. So, two things you could do here. You could... It's pretty open space-wise at the moment, so you could jump up to here or jump up to over there. Granted, you are the only one pushing the cart, but I think you'd be able to push it if you were standing up there, if you just stayed close enough to the edge. And it might keep you in a slightly safer spot, although this is a DPS player who's just really obsessed with shooting the tank, so you should be fine. Oh, I didn't even notice the Pharah was up there. That Pharah is living way too much, considering there's 3 hit scans on this team. That's preemptive, I think.
Heroes never die.
Yeah, that was a preemptive lamp, but... See, imagine if you had that lamp right now, and you put it like right at the middle of the bridge, and then you just start healing them and keep them up. See, I don't know if I'd have stopped healing there. Okay, Mercy's got it covered, you're good. Okay, here's everybody's favorite ultimate right now. Look at the radius of this thing. Can't even see it. But yeah, it's like what the one thing I'll say, if you're a support player and you're playing with a Ramatra, pocket the ever-loving shit out of your Ramatra when he's doing this. Lucio, speed him around, throw all your healing into this, because if he's in range to do damage, he ain't stopping until everything's dead. I hate this ultimate with a passion of 1,000 suns. You can't really do anything as Baptiste, except the only thing that you could probably have done yourself is try to get out of the radius by ducking and going up here where like the Mercy is. The problem is that Hog is just going to feed this ultimate until he's either dead or until everybody on your team is dead. Now, the one thing I'll say is it looks like this Ramatra is ulting at a point where he was probably too low to do it. He's got the Kiriko healing him. Where is Mercy? I think their Mercy's dead. Guess I could just look. Yeah, she's coming back from spawn. So this is kind of a bad ultimate for Kiriko, or for Ramatra, sorry. But it looks like she's about to ult, and maybe she can carry that? I don't know. That's might be a little too late on the overcommit. I actually kind of want to watch this. Oops. Yeah, that's too little too late at that point. So, yeah, if your Ramatra is ulting, make sure, like, if you play Ramatra, make sure both your supports are with you. Because that was a bad Kiriko ult. Maybe if she did it sooner, she probably could have kept him going by herself, but, yeah. That's the difference between a good Ramatra ult and a bad one right there.
Thanks for the help. Someone has to keep you alive.
Speed this up just a little bit for right now. So, when you're Cassidy ulted, usually I give High Noons the lamp, if I feel like the High Noon is a valuable one. The other thing I'll do with lamp, that I'll sometimes throw it down a little on the preemptive side, is if I'm about to window, I'll put the window down and then I'll lamp it so that you can stand behind the window and actually DPS through it. Because a lot of times, depending, it's situational, to be fair, but a lot of times I find when I put the window down, my teammates don't pay a lot of attention to it, and I'm the only one getting any serious value out of it. I've had games where my whole team will pay attention to the window too, and guess what? Those are usually the games where there's a DPS stiff, and because there's like there's more situational awareness, but there's been plenty of games where I'm the only one getting a value out of it. This is I'm almost willing to guarantee this window is only going to give you value, but something to keep in mind in the future, like for here, what you could do, put the lamp right there, and then you would probably have a radius of like that, and then you'd be completely safe, and they're not going to kill you there. The other thing I want to say is this window is a little too far to the left. You could have kind of slid that over a little bit more just to have a little extra real estate to work with. You might not end up needing it, but it's still just good to have that extra space to work with. You become a little bit easier to predict in terms of like spamming shots into the window to try to, you know. So you're aiming really low. You got to start aiming more for headshots. I don't think I've really heard any headshot hit marker sounds from you yet. Baptiste, if you can land headshots fairly consistently, you can put in some serious damage with Baptiste. I've said in a past VOD, I believe that I said Baptiste can be a soft counter to Roadhogs, but that only happens when you're landing headshots. If you're just body shotting like what this Baptiste is doing, that doesn't work then. Even if it's through the window, you still got to be landing headshots or at least going for the head. I mean, if you end up, you know, hitting shoulders or something, well, so be it. But aiming more for headshots would be very valuable here. Because look at that, like you landed shots, but they're already healed. Like it's not doing anything. Where if you landed like headshots on that Reaper, for example, like that Reaper probably thinks twice, and he's probably still getting healed. And Reaper's got a pretty large head hitbox, so I like that lamp. Keep the heals going, keep them going. So the other thing I want to say is you're aiming at the ground on your healing grenades quite a bit. Try to actually hit them with the grenade, because I think you do a little bit less healing when you're hitting the ground and you're just getting that splash healing, where if you're hitting like the back of Roadhog like square away, he'll get a little extra healing off of it. I don't know off the top of my head what the numbers are for that, but I'm fairly certain you're costing yourself a little bit of healing there. I don't think it's actually cost you too much in this game, but you know. See how like you're healing, like the nade is actually hitting Roadhog right now? I feel like his HP is going up more.
Get into the field. Get in the immortality field.
Yeah, that was a little dangerous to actually land up there. I'm okay with you jumping up and taking a few pot shots, but landing up there that close to a Reaper is a little on the dangerous side. Lamp would be good here. So one place I like to throw lamp once in a while is like somewhere in here, because then it'll still give a radius around like there, and then they can't kill it so easily, especially considering the positioning they're taking. So just another thing to kind of keep in mind. So that Reaper would be a good ping target. Let your team know where the Reaper is. Same with that Mercy. See, like that Mercy should die there. You should have been able to kill that Mercy. You got to start landing some headshots.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Tactical visor activated. Excellent. Keep the payload moving.
Speed this up just a little bit.
A shot of health. Come get healed.
Okay, so let's rewind just a teeny bit. So what I would suggest doing at this point here, you're playing too far up. Play more toward the back of the point and use that as cover, because right now you're essentially frontlining with the Roadhog kind of hiding himself. And then on top of that, you have an Ashe that needs healing. I would like to see the Mercy more on these DPS here rather than the Roadhog. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe they've been struggling and the Roadhog's been carrying. I guess I haven't been paying that close attention to like who's actually on the kill feed, but I don't like this positioning, because what's about to happen is that Ramatra's about to ult. And if you're playing back more, imagine you're kind of playing back a little bit more. And then he ults here. So what you could potentially do is window and then shoot through it at the Ramatra, and maybe you kill him to the point where this ultimate doesn't just break the game like it normally does. So Mercy's the person you should be shooting at right there instead of the Reaper. You're not going to kill anything when you're just body shotting and they're being healed by Mercy. It's just not going to happen. So Mercy's got to either be the target that you're going after there, or you got to land consistent headshots to out-damage the healing coming in, which is a lot to ask, but that's your two options there. But ultimately, that window would have been the saving grace if your team lands shots through it, which may or may not have happened, but it's all about enabling your teammates as a support player. Okay, that lamp was late, and it was also too close to the Reaper, so... get a better view here. Okay, so right here, you can't save the Ash. Ash is dead. So what you would have wanted to do is put the lamp, somewhere out there. Somewhere out there. Away from you and away from the Reaper. When you put it over here, it's going to die first, and then it's going to kill you. And that same principle goes with Orisa ults. Like, for example, this is a little off topic, but when Orisa ults, it sends a shockwave out from her ultimate. So if you lamp it close to the Orisa, the lamp dies first, and then the damage comes after it. So you want to ult away from where the or you want to lamp away from where the damage is.
Not every day gives you a second chance.
Okay, so poking there is fine. 1.5. Taking kind of a high ground approach, also fine. So they are running Ana now, so I would say between either you or the Mercy, somebody should probably start thinking about going Kiriko. It honestly, to me, wouldn't really matter between the two of you who does it. I just think that the team would benefit from having a Kiriko here. Cleansing the antis, keeping your Roadhog aggressive. So like this lamp here, there's not going to be much taking advantage of it. And then on top of that, in terms of your teammates, but then on top of that, think about it this way. They're down here, you lamp. There's not much space to shoot at for them to hit you. You know, it was like that window I talked about before, where if you slide it over, it gives you more real estate to work with. You don't have any real estate to work with here. Even though you've got this giant window here, you've only got that little section to use. So I'm not a fan of that ultimate.
No.
That wasn't my best shot.
Remaining.
Heroes never die.
Okay, good. Lamp. Yep. Okay. Heal. Keep healing here.
Give them another blow before it's over.
Yeah, it would have been nice if you did like a jump and then healed your Reaper while he's ulting.
Let's keep showing.
That would have been a good time to use your jump ability.
Another day.
Alright, so now we've got... okay, so Genji is new. Everything else is the same. And then they're running Reinhardt, Reaper, Bastion. So all three of these are different. Okay. Ana for... Okay, so... I will give you some alternate suggestions on second point. Ana would be good, and Kiriko. Ana or Kiriko would be good here, for alternate suggestions here. Anna for nanoing Genji Blade, Kiriko for cleansing antis. It's going to be interesting to see how you guys deal with the shield, because there's no shield break on this team really other than what Roadhog does. And you don't really want your Roadhog being your only shield breaker.
Like it never happened.
Okay, yeah. This is why I'm not a big fan of Reinhardt right now. I got a lot of Reinhardts in my New Year's weekend games, and I felt like in Overwatch 1, I'd have to like yell and scream to get people to play Reinhardt in it. It's like I always felt like I got everybody that was like sick of playing Rein and just refused to do it, even though it was like an obvious choice to play it like at times. And then all of a sudden Overwatch 2 comes around, and Reinhardt kind of more on the weaker end of being of the tank, you know, hierarchy, and now I'm getting all these Reinhardt players, and it's like, well, where were you guys in Overwatch 1? Yeah, so
Completely healed.
zooming back a little bit here, that lamp is extremely late. That's a very lagged response to reacting to that Roadhog. That Roadhog's positioning got bad though. He needed to keep moving. He needed to kind of do a tactical fallout retreat kind of a thing here. But that lamp wasn't going to do anybody any favors. So they're kind of doing like an old school pirate ship strategy here, where they're, you know, riding Bastion on the cart. Oh wow, the Mercy actually got that res off. So one thing I recommend for people when they're playing against enemy Mercies, when you get a pick that's valuable, say for example like the Roadhog dying early there, because normally the rule of thumb is tanks don't die until the rest of the team does. So if you get into a case where something like that does happen and there's a Mercy flying around, you kind of want to camp that body a little bit so a res doesn't happen. Now in this case, the Roadhog died because of poor positioning, and the Mercy resing the Roadhog just turned into a big feed. And then on top of that, it got her killed too. But when you know you've got a Mercy floating around, camp dead bodies for a few seconds and make sure that those res attempts don't get off without her paying for it. If you're Lucio, oftentimes you can boop a Mercy away and cancel the res. Brig, same thing. Anything else, you're gonna just have to do a little bit of damage. Yeah, so your Roadhog is getting antied and needs that cleanse desperately. And the reason why this is happening is, Anna's, you know, anti-ing. That's number one, obviously. But that Bastion is hard countering Roadhog when there's a shield present and your team's not doing anything to make the Reinhardt think twice. Now, your Genji just completely fed Blade, but that might not be the end of the world here because he needed to swap, and he did. So that's a good thing. Not a lot of Genjis are willing to do that. Yeah, good. You jumped out of the Bastion ult. That's good. This is kind of already turning into a shit show, though. So when there's a Rein on the map, you do kind of have to be able to punish the massive HP of the shield to make him think twice. Otherwise a Reinhardt can be effective here. When you're escorting a cart, I feel like that's probably the best case scenario for having a Reinhardt, assuming you've got the DPS behind him to take advantage of the shield, and especially when the enemy team is playing a tank that doesn't have high shielding to support their team. Now, he went Ramatra. That helps. I don't know if it's an end-all be-all. It can be, but I would like to see maybe some better supporting of the tank at this point. And I'm not really sure Baptiste and Mercy is going to be it. Again, I would like to see a Kiriko. I would like to maybe even see a Lucio to speed the Ramatra around when he is ulting to keep him in range of people. Be a couple suggestions for swapping here. The Ashe needs to get back. You guys have been staggering pretty much this whole second point at this point. Not really sure what they were hoping to get out of that. Felt like a panic ult. So Lamp is very late here, but again, like what I would normally suggest is Lamp pretty much simultaneously with Window. If they're not really paying attention to you right away, maybe get a couple shots off and then throw a Lamp down, but I almost always throw Lamp down when I do Window just to make sure that I'm at least able to get maximum value out of it. And if my team's using it, even better. Even doing a voice line of group up when I put Window down can sometimes go a long way too. Okay, DPS here, just DPS. The Mercy can heal. Yeah, so this right here is where it gets rough when you're not playing a proper shield tank into a Reinhardt, where you have to come to the Reinhardt because of the objective style of the map. Not that it can't be done, but it gets difficult, and right now it's getting difficult, and you guys are kind of slow on the swapping, and it's just snowballing right now. I do like the Bastion swap, and I do like the Junkrat swap. These are all good shield-breaking characters. Okay, so now Ramatra's ulting. He's going to kind of end the snowball because his ult's never going to end. Okay, so Ramatra has ended the snowball. So now it's a matter of how long you guys can kind of hold this area. We obviously know this goes into overtime at some point, but hopefully you guys eat up enough time here where it's manageable in overtime. You should be healing here. What are you doing? Okay, you're... Yep, I was about to say Window could be good here. Yep, nice. I like that Window. That's the first Window I've seen from you that I like. And you got value out of that one, too. See what landing headshots on that Reaper does, especially through a window? They melt. Speed this up just a little bit. Okay, so they got a Pharah now. You're going to want to aim train against Pharahs, because that aim right there didn't look very good. It seems like you kind of don't really understand the movement of the Pharah, and you're having trouble kind of predicting where they're going. If in a case like this where Pharah is not being pocketed, Baptiste going into DPS mode to take a Pharah out is perfectly acceptable to me. And you should be able to win those duels too. I mean, you know, there could be some situational stuff that might get into that, but if it's a one-on-one duel, especially with that range, and especially considering the Pharah wasn't even really paying attention to you, I would have expected you to be able to eliminate that Pharah, or at the very least take her down to one a lot quicker than what you did, to make her fall back. You're missing a lot of shots on that Pharah. Wait, he's ulting again? Lamp. Oh god, Lamp. How did your Ramatra get ults so fast? That's impressive. Also concerning. Throw Lamp down and contest, that's all you can do. Yeah, I don't know why you were so slow to do that. You could have put it behind the pole and then maybe got some contest time in there. I don't think you would have like held it on your own, but you could have ate a couple seconds potentially. Okay, what are we looking at here? So now there's a Pharah. Okay, so Mercy's got good options here. Mercy can definitely work with either of these. Likely this, so that means you're going to be responsible for probably healing Roadhog and Sojourn here, because you're not really going to realistically be able to do much with Pharah. And then in terms of the enemy team, yeah, they found a team comp that worked against you. The only difference is now it's defense. The dynamic changes a little bit. I like their team comp on attack. I don't know if it'll work as well on defense though. I'd maybe like to see a different tank on defense. Maybe something with a little bit more range and poke ability. Okay, he's healed. You could. Oh, bad time to reload. You could have gotten some shots off on that Mercy. If it was a headshot, you might have killed her. Yeah, watch out for those lanes. You don't want to get antied or slept again. Those lanes on the left and right of the objective of the cart is what I'm talking about there. That Ana seems to be struggling to anti-Roadhog. Like, she did it, but it felt like a bad time when she did it. Like, she should have waited for that Roadhog to have been lower. So if you're an Ana player or looking for some Ana tips, even though this isn't an Ana VOD review, and who knows who's still watching at this point because we're already pretty far into this. But if you play Ana and you're looking to anti-Roadhog, do it at when he's about 50% health. If you do it when he's at 100% health, he's probably still going to be able to tank the damage without getting any heals between when he gets antied and when it wears off. If you do it at around 50%, odds are when you anti him, he's probably going to try to heal himself, waste the ability, and then everybody will focus him down a little bit more. Could probably even do it at 75% health if the rest of your team's like really paying attention to him or something, but try to avoid doing that at 100%. Yeah, that's a pretty good lamp. Unfortunate though that the Pharah wasn't in it, because that could have been a huge lamp if the Pharah was in it. Probably not communicated. If that were communicated, that could have been coordinated a little bit better though. Mercy's doing a fairly good job of staying alive here. I like your Lucio rollout. That's a good Lucio rollout. Okay, you're pressuring the Ana. So I like that you pressured the Ana as Lucio, but the your aim needs work. And you're aiming low again. You gotta land hedge. Even on Lucio, you gotta be going for headshots. Lucio just doesn't really do any damage unless you're landing headshots. Take that from somebody who has gotten 10k damage in Overwatch 2 on Lucio on a push map. You gotta land headshots. A lot of them. I was doing it against a Roadhog who was feeding his ass off, but point of the matter is I landed a ton of headshots on that Roadhog, but you can do a lot of damage on Lucio if you can land headshots consistently.
Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
And that Ana was definitely killable there. So I mean, in terms of hero priority, I like the choice you were making. Just the execution of it needs to get a little better now. So your mechanics. So I would have avoided that shift there. I think you can just right click your tank and keep him going. Save the shift for emergencies and when there's more people around you. That wasn't really an emergency, at least not yet. Okay, I like what the Hanzo's doing there with the Mercy. Just, yeah, pocket your tank, keep him aggressive, same with the Torb. You're responsible for both of those two. I would just reload here. Start your next fight off fresh with a full clip.
Nice to be the patient for a change.
Heroes never die.
So one thing you could do there if your team is communicating, you could have told the Mercy to just damage boost and then you cover the healing. So that way your team's kind of still outputting a fair bit of damage. The other thing could have been like have the Mercy do the healing and then you do some DPS. I don't really care which between the two. It's just more about trying to spit out a little extra damage. Support's not all about healing. It's a lot about healing, but it's not all about it. And sometimes your team just needs the extra damage. Kind of like right here, like the team just needed that Cassidy dead. You were in a good position to kill him and you did it. Again, playing support's not always about healing. It's a lot of times about healing, but it's not always about it. That's why we're called supports and not healers.
30 seconds remaining.
Go for the Mercy there first. When Far is pocketed, Mercy's got to die first. Unless you're just landing crazy amounts of headshots on the Far. Good jump. I would lamp. Lamp. Maybe. Yeah, lamp. Yeah. Now you missed an opportunity to lamp there. That Far needs to die. Okay, good. Took you a little longer than I would have liked to have seen you kill that Far in that sequence, but at least you got the kill. Lamp, yep, that's a good lamp. I like the positioning of that lamp too. I was gonna say window here. A little on the slow reaction time to that, Pocket your tank, pocket your tank. Yeah, you missed an opportunity there to be healing your tank a lot. Your tank clears them off the point if he stays alive. All healing, everything goes to that tank when Ramatra is ulting. Everything. You commit everything to your tank, to that Ramatra, especially in that kind of a situation. He clears the point and you win.
This ends now.
I think you guys are gonna lose this. Yeah, your win condition on that overtime was pocketing your Ramatra and him ulting everybody off of the point. So, number one, aim. Your aim's got to get better. 2, headshots. 3, window. I'm going to say RE for real estate, getting better window real estate. And then number 4, Ramatra. I don't know if that's how you spell Ramatra or not, but Ramatra pocket. When he's ulting, you got to pocket Ramatra like absolutely crazy. So, yeah, those would be my 4 biggest tips for you in regards to what I just watched here. So I hope you guys found that helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.